T minus 80 seconds. T minus 70 seconds. T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds.
Good evening and welcome to the Outpost Frequencies. Yoda, we said that you need to stop sniffing that before we get on air.
Shut up.
Welcome to the Outpost Frequencies.
I did not tell him I was going to do that either. I probably just blew out his eardrums.
Pardon? Welcome to the Outpost Frequencies. I'm going to get through this. Brought to you by thelastmovieoutpost.com for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film. We haven't got quite such a full house this evening. It's just myself and Yoda. How you doing, mate?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing, sir?
I've got a tickle of a cough. But apart from that, I'm fine. So I apologise now for the coughing and spluttering and the snotty every now and then that I do.
Oh, thanks for the demonstration. We appreciate that.
It's the swallowing it. That's the worst part.
Hey, yeah, chew it up first.
Hang on a minute.
And our one user ticks down to 0 viewers immediately. I tell you, I've had a little tickle. I got a cold like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'm still just occasionally just got a little cough that just won't quite go away. Gets a little bit better every day, but boy, it's hung on.
It just sits there. It just sits there.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you cough, immediately if you're out in public and you cough, everybody goes, like you've got COVID. But anyway, yes, welcome to the Outpost Frequencies to say. Nice to see so many people here. If you want to make any comments in the chat, please do so, so we can just completely ignore them, like we normally do. But apart from that, we're going to have a look at some of the news. So first of all, in the news this week, let's turn that one off and that one on. We are living in 1984. Well, kind of 1984, but also we're living in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because it's kind of the whole story is about how Roald Dahl books want to be censored so that they can take out words like fat and ugly so that young kids aren't bullied anymore about it. I can't get my head around this. I really cannot get my head around this. How a book written however long ago they were written is now turned out to be deemed offensive to people, and kids are getting upset about it.
Well, there's kind of a lot to unpack here because I'm I'm of a couple of minds about this. One is this has been going on with the movies for a while with the digital copies.
Yeah.
It's something that we notice prominently in, say, like the Star Wars trilogy or something that's been around and is just so seared into our memories. But that I have no idea how much it's happening to other movies. I just don't. watch that often or know that much about.
I mean,
So
there was
there's
a big fuss, just to interject, there was a big fuss the other day about China, how they changed the end of Fight Club. And at the end of Fight Club, it was a sign came up saying the police foiled Tyler Durden's plans and arrested him and threw him in jail.
Yeah. All hail the state. But I mean, yeah, I mean, China's was kind of overt and blatant, but it's one that it's like it's friggin' China. You kind of like, okay, morons. That's the country you live in. But here, with free speech, at least in America, with free speech and everything, and property rights for that matter, copyright infringement. I don't know. I mean, at what point is this? I mean, this is vandalism, right?
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
Cultural
it wasn't
vandalism.
It absolutely is, and now it's happening to books, and this is the printed word. So now, I mean, you're erasing history, and this is exactly. I mean, this is like word for word what Orwell wrote in 1984. Yeah. So, we're reaping what we sow here to a certain extent. But then there's also this really, really cynical part of me that can see like people are buying up the books off of eBay and suddenly the prices are skyrocketing and everything. And everybody's talking about the old Roald Dahl books and probably they want to get some more movies made and that side of things. So in a month or two, do they announce, you know what, after the backlash, we're putting them all back.
Well,
you can buy them all, in which case there'll be more. Everybody buy the new ones just in case they do it again.
Apparently, that is what has happened. Because of the backlash, they have said that they won't be doing it. But again, it's kind of, if it is a digital, or not a digital, but if it is an advertising scheme, then fair play, because it's obviously worked very well.
It has worked very well, but it also kind of dives into my entire problem with society nowadays, which is we're all just waiting to get mad and corporations are just taking advantage of it to fleece us. And it's like, okay, when are we going to stop playing their games? When are we going to stop being angry at each other? I mean, first you got to like define reality, and we've got a large group of people that can't seem to do that anymore. And then secondly, we got to figure out, well, what are the bedrock principles? Again, I'm talking as an American here. I understand that, but I think a lot of our stuff comes from English common law and that sort of thing. So I don't think we're too far out. But certainly the idea of free speech and property rights and all that kind of stuff, it's like we don't agree on that anymore. We don't agree on free speech. I know in England you get arrested if you say the wrong thing on Twitter now. And that's just mind-blowing to me. And yet there's a group of, I mean, I don't know, call them coddled youngsters, call them, they get you in the schools young, they teach you garbage. That's all you know is garbage. So now you're frightened of everything, of a mean word. Speech is violence, that kind of stuff. It's all topsy-turvy, so I don't know how we get back there. And in the meantime, book companies and movies and theater or studios and whatever, they're just screwing with the IP, saying, well, this will get them mad, this will get them talking. Hey, everybody's talking about our book now. Everybody's buying our book again. I mean, it's just like, oh, God, stop your world. I want to get off, that kind of thing.
I'm going to say, I think you're peaking a little bit in your microphone, so you might want to bring it down ever so slightly. Because you moaned about me. It's not saying that last time.
No, I appreciate it. If I sit back a little bit, is that better?
There we go. I can just hear it slightly clicking, that's all. But I mean, it is one of those things where I do think to myself, why are we mollycoddling children these days and wrapping them up in cotton wool? When I was a kid, I was bullied, and I probably bullied other people. And it made me the man I am today. I don't want to say that, but it does teach you to stand up against these people and to take on resilience. As soon as I heard this, there was a lady over here on the BBC, and she was doing an interview, and she was saying about how children shouldn't have to be subject to these bad influences and stuff. And I thought, what happens to a kid if his mum is, dying of cancer? Do you just shield him from that? Oh, she's gone to a farm, but she's never going to see you again.
You told me you took Mom to a farm.
Yeah, can we go and see her? No, it's really far away, and she doesn't want to see you anymore. But again,
mommy heaven.
Unfortunately, there are harsh realities of life, but we live in a society now where all kids are given like participation awards for everything. You don't have winners or losers anymore. That, you know, some kids are great at maths and other kids are great at sport. It's kind of, no, everybody's done well. Hooray, we all get an award. You know, it doesn't teach kids a good thing, I don't think, for a future life.
Well, you know, the fairy tales back in the day, and the Grimm's fairy tales, they were
Yeah.
horrific. You know,
Yeah.
if you go out into the forest by yourself, you might find a witch who will stick you in an oven and eat you.
What's
Yeah,
wrong
I
with
mean,
that?
it's just, well, I mean, they didn't hold back from these horrific stories, and quite frankly, I mean, when we were growing up, I mean, how much even at a young age did we want to watch some of the more scarier stuff or read the horror comics or things like that? I mean, it was scary, but you know, it was like you dealt with it. You had Friday. I remember Friday Fright Night every night, every Friday. You know, some weird scary movie. They would play on UHF. They'd play like Dracula and all the old horror movies like in the middle of the afternoon. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It doesn't traumatize kids. I don't have any belief. I don't see any evidence to support that movies or video games or books that get horrific are a instigator for kids to just lose their minds or freak out or not being able to handle anything. In fact, I think it's actually the opposite. I think they don't learn any coping skills early because all they watch is shit
exactly.
like Barney.
Yeah.
And then now they've used it as an opportunity to stick all their weird sexual deviancies into it, and that kids now they think it's, you know, they can't handle any of the violence. They can't. I mean, you can't even smoke in a movie anymore. But you know, Uncle Freddie wants to stick his dick in you. That's fine. You should understand that that's just a choice, and maybe you'll
And men dressing
like,
up
oh
as
my God.
ladies, that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I remember like George Carlin and some others who said I'd rather see two people on screen making. I'd rather my kids see two people on screen making love than I would killing each other. And I hate to say it, but I totally disagree with him because the killing each other, the violence and everything, it's very easy for a kid to wrap his head around. And it's something that it's why you watch G.I. Joe, it's why you watch He-Man, all this kind of stuff, even though they didn't kill each other as much, but even Star Wars or some of the movies, you can understand you're stopping bad guys, you understand death. It's a very easy concept, I think, for kids to wrap their heads around. You know, alive and then it's dead. And you know, that's a bad thing. But sex and all the emotions that come with it and relationships and the feelings with each other, there's adults that haven't got this shit figured out yet, right?
Yeah. But kids under 18, not a problem.
Yeah.
Not an issue.
Yeah,
Not an issue
like
for them.
4-year-olds, that's not going to be, I mean, it's like you're getting into some very complex emotions that are tied in with our biology and our souls and our willingness and desire to have people, our need to get above our animal passions and all that kind of stuff. It's like, how do you explain all that shit to a 4-year-old? It's very, very tough.
Yeah.
And if you just show them the physical act, I mean, I always look at South Park, which we'll get into here soon. Maybe this will be my segue. When they did the Lord of the Rings spoof and they were trying to get the extended edition videotape or DVD, I can't remember, but Butters somehow got a hold of like the worst porn ever. It got mixed up in the boxes. And because he watched this, he slowly turned into Gollum. It's my precious. Because it messed him up, you know. It was like it was funny. Like Butters, or not Butters, Token says, he's like, Token, we don't know why this tape is so. What kind of magic it has. We need somebody to watch it. He says, I will take on the quest. And he goes in and he comes out like 5 minutes later. He's just taking off his costume. He's like, I'm out. I don't want to play anymore. I'm done.
So, coming back to the books, I wonder if it was kind of a marketing ploy to be able to do that, because you did kind of have visions of, in 20 years' time, sort of saying, "Here, kid, do you want to buy a copy of the Twit? It's the original. It's got the word ugly in it," and this kind of thing. And whether, they would go into people's houses, and it made me think of like Equilibrium and sort of movies like that, where people have got hidden libraries with the original copies of Roald Dahl books. And you are thinking, really? Seriously? This is where we're going to now, that we're protecting kids so much that we're just not going to use the word ugly around them?
I don't know how this is all going to play out, because I mean, it's this weird mind virus has infected so many HR departments and that sort of thing, and then corporations either are buying into all this nonsense or they are using it to their advantage.
Yeah.
Is this a cynical marketing ploy? Is it woke people getting in the way? Can it be both? It probably could be both. I mean, it's not like a corporation is a monolith. There's all kinds of people in it. They all have different ideas, and marketing people will take advantage of anything they can. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to think about it. I do know that all of it long term is bad.
Yeah.
And if we don't
any kind of censorship of old stuff. It's weird actually, because I remember George Lucas petitioning somewhere, and he was saying about how they shouldn't change old movies. They shouldn't even colorize them and all this kind of stuff. And it is kind of like, right, George, I get what you're saying, but you've never submitted a copy of Star Wars to the American Film Institute because you want them to have the special edition and not the original cut. So you're kind of shooting yourself in your own foot there.
It's okay when we do it.
Yeah, and again, it's like I say, any kind of this censorship, it's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas, he testified in front of Congress on this.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
I knew him just getting some interview. I mean, this was under oath and shit. Like, what the hell, George? I mean, this. It kind of comes down to like that bedrock principles are no longer bedrock anymore, and that they are used when convenient. And if we, if the principles don't get back in place somehow, if we don't have a foundation to build off of, then the whole thing crumbles. And I mean, I don't want to start sounding like Tim Pool here, but I mean, come on, this is what is happening. The foundation is crumbling, and what's going to happen? Not just the United States, but I mean, all of the West, is kowtowing to this nonsense in various ways, and they're not going to, the people that want to take over are people who do not have these principles and will have no compunction of screwing you over if it furthers their own aims.
I think that's such a huge part of the problem, that these people have got such wild ideas that it's not, the whole backlash of what with this Roald Dahl thing. It's just because it's so stupidly outrageous, and anybody with a mediocre of common sense sort of goes, well, that's just a bad idea. Whereas these people are sort of like, no, we must fight for the children and make sure they don't, get influenced by this kind of thing. And it's really sort of, but it's not, is it? Like you say, anybody with common sense, but it's unfortunately these people that are the ones that are in control of the whole situation.
Yep. I'm not sure how it's going to get fixed, because we have groups, I mean, an entire generation that's been infected with this mind virus. And I don't know if the question is, are they the majority or not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of that, we've got some other bits and pieces to talk about. So I'm going to move these around now, because you did say about South Park, but we're going to go on to Hogwarts Legacy. Now, obviously, this again has caused massive controversy because it's been completely boycotted and failed quite spectacularly. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't. But again, there's people on Twitter who seem to think that the way out of this situation is to scream as loud as they possibly can to get attention, and then that will solve the situation, much like a toddler does. But all they seem to do with this, again, whether this is a clever marketing ploy, we don't know. But, Hogwarts has become one of the biggest games ever to come out in the last, couple of years. Just because of this not just because of this boycott, but I mean, obviously there's a huge fan base, but a lot of people have been going out and buying it just out of spite.
Yeah. I just find it fascinating that this is where it's kind of emblematic of their whole mindset. It's so tribal and so othering. There are probably various things that they should probably figure out that they could probably do more good with if they had a principle. I think this comes back to it's got to be a principle, but to them it's just picking enemies. Right now, J.K. Rowling in their mind is the biggest enemy to everything that is whatever it is that they believe. This trans nonsense, trans maniacs, I call them. And they are not, I mean, JK is probably their biggest supporter in a lot of ways. I mean, she is completely woke, leftist, progressive on just about everything. And the only place she finally drew the line is, but men are men and women are women, and that's a biological thing. And they can't handle that. They just have lost their mind.
The last movie, Outpost, does not agree with that statement because you can be whatever you want to be. Just don't get us in trouble and get us cancelled.
Yeah. We already go yellow on our monetization thing.
Yeah. Last week, yeah.
As soon as you say J.K. Rowling, that's what happens. I think that's what happens. But, yeah, I mean, I'm like going, okay, well, this is the hill you want to die on because it's more important to you to hurt J.K. Rowling than it is to fight for any principle. Well, the problem is that the normies like Harry Potter. My daughter, who was not a gamer, we gave her, my son and I split it. We bought her an Xbox so she could play Hogwarts Legacy.
Right.
That's how much, I mean, to her, Harry Potter is like Star Wars to you and me. And she's not alone. So going after Harry Potter was a losing battle. And
from the start.
And they really exposed themselves as the lunatics. So, I mean, I guess I chalk this up as a win, but I mean, some of the things they were saying, it's like, if you play Harry Potter, trans people will die. I'm like, how?
Well, I mean, technically, they probably have a point that they would, but it would have nothing to do with the fact of anybody playing Harry Potter. You know, in the whole Sylvia Plath type of way, that, we're all dying, and some people might die, but millions of kids in Africa will probably go hungry tonight. But again, it's got nothing to do with Harry Potter.
No, I mean, that, people were seeing their lunatic stuff. It's like, if you play this, you're contributing to violence against, like, how this guy sitting, look, if anything, you're getting array for the violence because guys are just sitting there looking at their damn screens, they're not running around the streets causing problems. Recreating GTA. Yeah. I mean, it's just, we have such a weak group. It's like, I can't believe we're losing these people sometimes because they are so weak in the head. They can't handle any criticism. They have no ability to self-reflect. And so when this happened, they cannot handle it. They are just, their brains broke when they saw the sales on that Harry Potter game. They can't figure out that there is a world beyond their sexual fetishes.
I think I saw a meme recently. Well, a meme. It was a video of somewhere. It was in Walmart or somewhere, weirdly. But a chap had stopped a lady pushing in front of him with a trolley. That's all that had happened. He was in a queue and a lady pushed in, and I think he politely said to her, "Excuse me, you've just pushed in." This woman then went on this absolute tirade about how this man was upsetting her, and she was literally screaming like a toddler until the employees took the man. That. Yeah, but the employees took the man away because obviously they just wanted this woman to shut up. And I thought to myself, so this is the world that we're living in now. That it's just if you just scream louder, because my answer to that would have been to scream even louder than the woman, because I probably could have done that, but I'm not a child. I'm a fully grown up adult, And if somebody does push in front of me, yeah, I might say something. But if they just sort of say, oh, I'm in a hurry, oh, it's fine, carry on. But this woman was just, and I just thought, this is the next generation. This is what we're teaching them. That if anything upsets you in any way, shape or form, even when you're behaving like a complete arse, just scream and shout like a toddler until you get your way. Don't grow out of that.
Emotional incontinence is just rampant, and I've never seen. I just think about when I was, well, even when I was a kid, but even when I was in my 20s in the 90s, nobody would have put up with that.
No.
I don't know why we do now. I don't understand it. I mean, this is not long term. This is just like, okay, I guess we'll hand the world to China. They're laughing at us.
Yeah. It is a shame that we're living in a society like that. And like I say, it's kind of, I was thinking to myself the other day how it's weird. I've never seen a Karen in real life. And not that I want to, but at the same time, it is kind of like it would just be fascinating to see that kind of meltdown by somebody, just to sort of like, oh, wow, I never thought I'd see one in real life. This is, wow, film on the phone.
That's an interesting point. I mean, you get on YouTube or Twitter sinkholes and you end up seeing compilations of all this stuff, right? But, you're talking like 10 in a video, 10 Karens in a video, which just seems like a lot. But then you think of how many people are out there and how many interactions happen on a daily basis, compounded orders of magnitude. And it's like, and you got 10, that's nothing. And you don't see it in your real life. It's like I'm addicted to those dash cam videos. I just love watching crazy wrecks. And
glad that's not me.
Get my road rage out at home, But I drive daily, or I used to anyway, but enough, and it's like I just don't. Occasionally, somebody might slow down a little bit or cut, but nobody brake checks me. None of this stuff happens. Yeah. It's just when it does, everybody has a dash cam now, so they film it and whatever. But so is it exaggerated because of the internet? Is the internet breaking our brains? Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I say, it's. I mean, not that this is the same story, but we've got dogs over here called English Bull Terriers, and one dog
like
kills. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and one dog kills a kid because he's been raised by a complete arse of a person who's taught it to do that. And then all bulldogs are completely horrible, terrible creatures. And I mean, I've known a bulldog and it was so chilled out, it was almost a cat, but you, like you say, the media plays up on this one event. And so everybody thinks, oh, they're evil, hideous dogs and don't ever go near them and everything else. But that's not the case with them. It's just one example that's been amplified by the media and that kind of thing, which is, one of those things you just can't help because the media will just latch onto these stories and blow them all out of proportion.
Gotta get the clicks, man. Gotta get the clicks.
Like what we do, but we do it subtly.
Well, this gets back to what I said with the doll books, right? The media and the corporations and whoever owns all these IPs and everything, they will do anything. They will do whatever underhanded thing they can do to get us freaking out and mad at each other because whether you're against it or for it, you get the clicks. And if you get the clicks, you're making money. And people are going to buy the books because of this.
Yep.
And, I feel like, we're just playing into their hands, aren't we?
It is weird, isn't it? It's weird. Somebody said it's weird how a generation of such snowflakes that are the same people that were raised on things like Family Guy and South Park.
Obviously it varies from family to family. I know a lot of younger kids, my kids, my stepkids, they don't buy into any of this stuff. So I don't know. Well, we'll see.
Speaking of South Park, I've called it the Royal South Park because there's a couple of stories here. But it's again, this is kind of funny because obviously over here in the UK, we have heard nothing but the Prince and releasing his book and Meghan Markle and everything else for the last 6 weeks. I hadn't heard that South Park were taking the mick out of them until it started trending and everything else. And so then I wanted to watch the episode, which I found hilarious. And again, I kind of bought into it.
We want privacy.
Yeah. What are you looking at? How dare you? We want our privacy.
Right around with signs. I want privacy. Going on to TV shows. Privacy. Privacy, man.
The bit that got me was when he's saying about there were people inside. Hello, hello, hello. That's so funny. But again, it's marketing that's worked, because I wanted to watch it. And I mean, like I say, I did, and I thought it was really funny. But it now seems that, Megan's still very upset about the whole thing, and she wants to sue South Park over it. And again, the problem is they are too dumb to see that everything that they said in South Park, they are now doing. We want our privacy, and privacy has been exposed on South Park, and so we're going to sue. If you just shut up, it would go away.
I don't think they're going to be able to sue or going to be able to do anything about it. Being public figures, I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
And they were Canadian. It was the Canadian prince and...
Yes, completely different. A Canadian red-haired prince and a dingleberry black-haired white. It's just a total coincidence. I think. Do you know what the Streisand effect is?
No, go on.
Okay, so there was a guy who did this picture book of coastlines, California coastlines. It's like some from the air and things like that, and put out this picture book. It's like a coffee table book, if I remember right. I could be wrong, so correct me if you guys are in the comments. But basically, put out this book and threw out all the pictures of all these different, some of them had houses on the shore. It was Barbara Streisand's house. And she made a big stink out of it. Now, if she had it, nobody would have known it was her house.
Yeah, it would have just been a house on the edge of it.
It probably would have sold 100 copies of this book, because it's a freaking coffee table book or something. I mean, nobody would have known. And that would have been the end of it. But she sued. She made a big deal out of it. And then everybody went to buy the book. And now everybody knows where Barbara Streisand's house is. And it's become a meme. It's called the Streisand effect. This is what people call it now. It's because they... by making a big stink out of something that you want kept down low, you achieve the opposite effect.
Yeah.
And this is what Megan and Harry have done, because it was just another South Park episode.
Sorry to interrupt. You're still peaking again a little bit. Turn your microphone down. Fiddle with your microphone.
I'm fiddling with it.
That's better. Okay, that's better. There we go.
All right.
Now we can't hear him at all. This is great. So welcome to my show. No. Before you carry on a minute, Kurt's come in and said the Illuminati wants to destroy America. That's where the First Amendment is under attack. What's the First Amendment?
It's the right to free speech, along with a few other things. The right to religion, the right to...
When they say the right to bear arms... Do you think they actually meant like bear arms?
We'll get into cocaine bear soon.
Thanks for joining us, though, Kat. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just saying that's what's happened, is that they made a big stink out of this, and now more people are watching the episode showing what lunatics they are.
It's, again, like I say, if you just kind of shut up, I've often found that the best form of offense in this situation is not to fight fire with fire. It's just to shut up and just let it burn out. It will soon go away.
If they were smart, because their ratings are got approval ratings for whatever that means. I don't know who's taking these surveys, but whatever. But they're in the tank, and people have just about had enough of them. If you wanted to turn it around, you could have, the first thing you should have done is go, yeah, South Park kind of got us, didn't they? And people probably would have said, good for them for being good sports, That's there's nothing more endearing than somebody taking the joke with a bit of good humor and saying, maybe I should work on myself.
Because, I mean, a big thing in America is the roast, isn't it? Where they sort of sit there and they roast people and, to show that they've got a good sense of humor about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you take it on the chin a little bit and say, okay, maybe we'll lay low. Hey, that was pretty funny. I gotta admit, they got us. Yeah. That would have done wonders for their image. But no, they're so self-centered and narcissistic and navel gazing. They can't
respect our privacy. Anything. Our privacy. Just make sure you respect our privacy. It's strange.
Any criticism, any. I love it when he said, "I'm gonna." He said something about I'm gonna stick my blue dick in his ass or something.
And just he's
Talking
on
about
the
when he
window.
got frostbite.
Yeah, but he's like going on the window and stuff, and Stan's just like, no, I'm not paying attention to it. No. It is very good. Hey, Rodney's here as well.
They just prove the point was the funny part.
Damn right. Reacting like children to a roast is it was the worst thing they could have done. Exactly. It's funny actually because I probably shouldn't say this because it's going to get me into more trouble. But on our Slack team group thing that we have for the Last Movie Outpost to update articles and stuff, somebody said about calling me Pip, which I hate. But I thought to myself, if I kick off stink about it, you'll just do it more. And I tried to let it lie, but it hasn't died away yet. But you know, that'll teach me.
Yeah. Well, Pip, what's our next subject?
Damn it. So, apparently, Lord of the Rings, is it new movies or new TV shows?
Let me look.
I thought it was new movies. As you can see, we've done our research. We've done our research here today.
I wrote the article. I don't remember. No, I didn't write the article. Stark did. Okay, I will read the article here.
Just very quick. I thought it was new movies. I'm sure lots of people on Twitter and a few other places have been saying new movies are coming out for Lord of the Rings. They want to do...
Okay. Zaslav wants to be in franchise heaven again and is pressing the go button for all sorts of existing IPs. We know he's keen on more Potter, and there's rumors that Hogwarts Legacy is coming to HBO Max as a streaming show.
Oh, okay.
Know about the
so
new
I apologize.
DCU. No, I'm still going. We know about the new DCU under Gunn and Safran. The situation regarding the rights to J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings IP is as complex as one of his appendices. Swedish gaming company Embracer Group has the rights to the Rings movies, games, merchandise, theme parks, and live stage productions since last year when it purchased the rights holder Middle-earth Enterprises from the Saul Zaentz company. Amazon has the rights to the television adaptations as long as they're not based on the 3 original novels. MGM, now owned by Amazon, has the distribution rights to The Hobbit, but not the production rights. Warner Brothers Discovery has announced during an investor call on Thursday that it has a multi-year deal in place with Embracer to develop new movies. Warner Brothers Pictures and New Line will create new movies based on The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit books. At the time of the writing, it's been an incredible 22 years since The Fellowship of the Ring was released. It'll be over a quarter century old by the time any new adaptation makes it to the screen. We understand
but still,
okay, no clarity here, but I mean, it's like remaking The Wizard of Oz or Star Wars. It doesn't,
Oh no, it's again, it's just one of those things that okay, maybe if they went down the route of the Silmarillion, I've never read the Silmarillion, but I know kind of roughly what it's about. But maybe if they did that, but again, it's taking one of these properties they have just proved. I had an argument with somebody on Twitter, and they said about how it could be good and interesting, if they expand on the story of Lord of the Rings. And I said, but Rings of Power has just proved you wrong. Because Rings of Power has been, they've taken this stuff and they've completely changed the lore and changed the characters, and it's just been absolute awful.
Well, there is more. You could readapt it to be more faithful to the books. I'm not sure that's I don't need to see Tom Bombadil. I'm sorry. I don't need to see 23 pages of probate after Frodo dies.
Yeah.
After Bilbo dies and Frodo is trying to figure out how to get the Sackville Legacy this much, and shut up. I don't care about the Tukes. I don't care about who gets what. Get to the Balrog.
Yeah, I was going to say ultimately that is quite and but then there were characters like Tom Bombadil missing as well and stuff from the movie and there you go. Kurt thinks that Eli Roth or Zack Snyder should do the Ring movies. No, see, I'm not a fan of Eli Roth. But then I know what you're saying, that Eli Roth is just one of those people who loves violence for the sake of violence. And so it kind of would be at least interesting, but I can't imagine they would do it because the producers would step in and ruin everything like they did with everything else.
I think it should be Rob Zombie. Did you see the Quality Monsters remake? I'm telling you, they do a bang up job.
So bad. But again, it's just one of these things that they own these properties now, and it's just leave them alone. You've seen what you've done with Star Wars. I mean, I can't think of any property where they've come out good. Anything at all. It's always turned out badly. Always.
I feel like Harry Potter was the last thing that was adapted well.
I suppose actually. I mean, they were quite faithful to it, weren't they? And they did a decent story with the film. So I'm not a massive Harry Potter fan, but I appreciate how well the stories are written and how well the movies were put together. But then you say that, but then you know it's still now a legacy. This whole legacy of Harry Potter is now all tainted because everybody hates J.K. Rowling, and you know because she's such an horrible, evil, nasty woman.
Don't hate Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling. Hate it for the Fantastic Beasts franchise, which is a pile of shit.
It's weird because usually I'll watch anything when it comes out. I'll give it a chance and stuff. But the third one I think it is of those Fantastic Beasts couldn't even be bothered. Could not be bothered.
I didn't. But I haven't watched it either. I never got around to it. The first one was okay. I mean, it was passable. It was like, okay, this might be a good starting point. The second one was a god awful mess. I can't even tell you what happened in it or why it happened or what they were trying to do.
And then then they swapped out everybody as well, didn't they? They swapped out Johnny Depp because of the whole Amber Heard thing, and then brought in Mix Madelson, wasn't it?
Mads Mikkelsen, whatever his
name
is. He's been played by 3 different people now. It's because he was played by Colin Farrell in the first one, but he wasn't.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
But that was like some sort of apologies brochure. Like Johnny Depp came in at the end, you know, when the spell wore off or something. But then they did Johnny Depp. Then Johnny Depp got screwed over by Amber Heard, and then now you have Mads Mikkelsen, and the whole time they're both. He's gay for Dumbledore, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm done. You know, you made my daughter mad, and she's the Harry Potter head. If you could turn her off, I'm so proud. It's so funny. It's like she's so mad at what they've done to Harry Potter, and I'm like the guy in the news with the Star Wars going, first time, huh?
You're angry at what Hollywood's done to your legacy, darling. Yeah. This is how I feel.
Let me talk to you about Star Trek, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Potter,
and whatnot. Oh, good. Look, Heidi's here. Hello, Heidi. Frost Bear. Yeah, Cocaine Bear. We're getting to that. Before we do, though, we're just gonna quickly talk about The Whale, which is on streaming now. In the US, not in the UK. Sorry to say, but I saw that this week. What?
Oh, there it is. I didn't see Heidi's comments. It wasn't updating. I just had to click away. Okay.
Unprofessional. Seamlessly into The Whale. But no, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. A24, I think, is a production studio who movies I always look forward to. And I was looking forward to seeing Brendan Fraser just act. And I said in the original review that I did, he, you know, I kind of remember him from George of the Jungle and the Mummy movies. And obviously this was, you know, extremely, and Cineo Man. But this was extremely different. And it was a brilliant film, based on a play by someone. And it was very much filmed like a play because it was all kind of in one room. And again, that kind of thing fascinates me, of having close-knit characters together, as opposed to, say, something like Ant-Man, which is set in a completely different universe and whatnot. And it was a very powerful movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Have you seen it?
Nope. Honestly, I just didn't have much interest. I was looking at it going, okay, big fat guy turns gay, and no. I'd say, okay, it's boring. I'm sorry.
No, Heidi, we didn't see your flowers.
Nope.
PM
us.
You
mean that one right there.
With it was, yes, there was he basically he was a married man, and he left his wife and his daughter to have an affair with one of his students, it turns out. But it was quite integral to the story. Not to spoil too much, because the man that he had the affair with ends up having problems with his own family and ends up killing himself. And that's why he then becomes, Charlie was the Brendan Fraser's character. That's when he became this obese man locked in his own room. And I must say, just to get off the point, that living in your own house, never leaving, working from home and eating yourself to death, living the dream. Just going to get that out there. That's the way I want to go.
Then I'm living the dream, I guess.
Yeah, so that's the way I want to go. But it was all integral to the story, and the story was brilliantly done. And the film itself is an upsetting film because there's kind of no way it can end well. But I thought it was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very, when I think of, I saw Ant-Man last week as well, chalk and cheese. They were so different from each other, but I enjoyed The Whale so much because there was so much more of an emotional journey with these characters as opposed to watching Ant-Man fighting Kang, which was just not as interesting. I posted my homegrown flowers on Instagram. I think I did see them, Heidi. Yes.
And I don't have Instagram, so that's sorry.
I can't see where you are now, but yes, no, I think I did see them. They were great. Oh, there you are. Right. No, but yes. Anyway, thank you for posting those. But yeah, Brendan Fraser was very, very good. It's really thrown me off there. Brendan Fraser was excellent, and I thought the whole film was very good. I think it is one of those movies. First movie was Aces. It was, and don't get me wrong, I love. But the first one, the second one, it kind of tails off a little bit. But the first, like I say, Brendan Fraser just always seemed like just a great guy, and then having him actually seeing his acting skills in this it was quite incredible. And it's definitely, I'd put it on one of those movies that I think people should see before they die. That obviously there are movies that come out all the time that kind of do that, not very often these days, but it's definitely something people should, if you're a cinephile, you should definitely sit down and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, Fraser did some drama in his early days that people forget about because it's lost in things like, Dudley Do-Right and George of the Jungle and all sorts of other stuff he did. Monkey Bone.
Yeah. He did Gods and Monsters is the one that seems to spring to my mind for some strange reason, but I don't really remember much about that.
No, I don't either. I know he did one like with honors or something. I think it was with Joe Pesci.
Was it as good as What's Eating Gilbert? I couldn't say because I genuinely haven't seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape for an awfully long time. So I couldn't compare the two. In fact, I might put that back on my list.
That's the one I'm thinking of. School Ties.
School Ties? Okay. Huge cast. Oh, okay, with Brendan Fraser, I see. The Whale, I definitely think is something that if you're a cinephile, you should take the time to watch because it's brilliantly done. And Brendan Fraser is just masterclass in it, as Aggie would like me to say. But no, I thought it was very, very good. So, okay, we're going to move on then.
I'm happy to see. I just want to say I'm happy to see that Fraser is getting back into the swing of things. I've loved him in, even though he hasn't really, he's had a few on screen, but mostly it's voiceover. But him as Robot Man in Doom Patrol has just been hilarious. He's been great.
So I've not seen any of that, but
Doom Patrol is one of those series that for all the superhero series, and they are a DC superhero team. It's not like anything else you'll see. It's bizarre and messed up, and I love it for that.
Messed up, you say?
Yes.
Well, that's me on board. Okay, then. So moving on then to our Cocaine Bear. Now, just to introduce this, I've seen the trailers of this, and I am highly looking forward to seeing it. But my local cinema's not playing it. However, you have seen it, haven't you, mate?
Yep, saw it last night, and One, I'd like to have everybody, if you can get it down and see it today, please do, because there is an off chance that it might beat Ant-Man Quantumania in its second week, which is really funny to me.
That is one of those things which is just, please do that. Please do that. Please have a movie about a cocaine snorting bear beat Marvel and Disney, at their own game.
Very funny. Elizabeth Banks directed this, and I'm trying to.
So
think,
was it as good as Charlie's Angels?
No.
No, as in, yes, it was.
Charlie's
because
Angels is a mamasterpiece, sir, of strong female characters, and
which us men weren't
please
ready
be nice
for.
to us. Yes.
Brits love Coke. Not all of us. I prefer Pepsi. Sorry, go on.
I'm gonna have to turn off your camera for a while for that. Obviously, yes, it's much better than that. And it is what it is. You know what? One, it takes place in 1985, and
because it's based loosely on a true story, isn't it?
No, they followed it completely. The guy jumps out of the plane, and he hits his head after he's thrown all this coke out of the plane. He hits his head, and so his chute doesn't go off, and he ends up in some poor asshole's driveway. And then the bear overdoses and dies.
Oh, so it's quite a short film.
No, I'm kidding. This is where the loosely starts.
Oh, I see. Oh, they
real
put a slight
life.
Hollywood twist on it. Right.
This is where they put a Hollywood twist on it when the bear becomes a complete cocaine fiend. And it's not. Somehow they made a halfway decent story out of it. I was kind of surprised because it's not like your typical bear goes crazy. Like there's other stories going around, and the bear is killing the bear is not the end all of the movie. In fact, I'm going to go into spoilers. Can I go into spoilers?
Yeah. I'm not too bothered. Yeah, I'm not too bothered.
Right. Do you remember? And maybe you don't remember, but I remember when after Star Wars came out, but before Empire Strikes Back came out, everybody had shirts that said Darth Vader lives. I'm going to make a shirt that says Cocaine Bear lives.
All right. Okay.
It did start out that way though. This dude, he's in a plane, and he's throwing duffel bags out, and he's just having a grand old time with it. Now, according to the research I did about what really happened, I think the guy that was throwing cocaine bales out of the plane thought that they were tracking him, and he wanted to get rid of it. I did not get this sense in this movie that that's why he was doing it. I'm not really clear why he was doing it, because if it was drops, there's got to be better ways to do it than what he was doing, because there's duffel bags in trees, there's duffel bags on roofs.
I'll pick all that up later. That won't be an issue.
Yeah. You could just land and give it to the drug dealer, but sure, throwing it out of a plane, that's an idea too. And he's just having a grand old time. He's throwing them all out. He's partying out. He does not seem like he's under any sort of tension or something. And then when he getting ready to jump out of the plane, that's what happens. He clunks his head on the top of the hatch opening, knocks himself out, slides out of the plane, ends up in some poor bastard's driveway dead. The bear gets into the cocaine, and he attacks two hikers. I should say the she bear. It's a female.
Not to be sexist, we're all equal.
Yep. Female bears can tear shit up just as easy as male bears. And they're high on coke. So he attacks a pair of hikers, and he kills the woman, which I thought, sure. That was the other thing. It's like I expected some people to die that didn't die, and others that did die I was not expecting, or they dragged things out. But it's all played for laughs. Now, the one thing I liked about it is set in 1985, and it does not feel like an 80s. It doesn't feel like a remember the 80s movie.
Yeah.
It feels like an 80s movie.
That is one of those things that I desperately hate it when it's kind of, even things like Stranger Things have done the same thing, that it's kind of like the 80s. Do you remember the 80s? Look, we've got an arcade machine over there. Do you remember this? Listen to that song. There's an 80s song. Do you remember that 80s song? And it's kind of, a lot of films kind of do that it's just, oh, remember, do you remember? Can you listen to the music? It's the 80s, remember? And yeah. Whereas as opposed to what you're saying is it's a film like it was made in the 80s.
It does. And it does. It feels more like a period piece. Now, I'd say there isn't a song or two, but it just isn't throwing 80s in your face all the time.
Right.
And this woman that is the park ranger up there, she is getting ready for a nature inspector to come out. She has a little crush on him, and she's got like stuffed animals all over the ranger cabinet. I mean, not a ton of them, but a few, like you would expect and that sort of thing. So the guy comes in, and she's put on all this perfume and everything. He's like, "Oh, what's that smell?" It's like, "Oh, I just she's trying to be coy about it." He's like, "Well, we better get going. I want to check out your ranger's cabin." "Oh, your beaver is dusty." She's like, "Well, I'm working on that."
Hey-oh.
which was great. And there's a lot of little, it's just not taking itself seriously at all, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And
I mean, ultimately, it is one of those movies. I mean, sometimes I come across titles of films and I just look at the title and I can't remember what some of them are, but some of them are just so unbelievable. Piranaconda was one the other day where it was a mix, and I look at it and I think, I kind of fancy that. And like you say, if they're not taking themselves seriously, you can have great fun with them. And obviously Cocaine Bear is one of those films where it's like, we're not taking ourselves too seriously with this.
Yeah, but it's not like Sharknado stupid. I mean, it's reasonably good. It's not
sort of based in some form of reality.
Yeah, to a certain extent. And you have a lot of different characters in here. So you got the mom with their daughter, and the daughter wants to go paint the falls. And I mean, like, she's a painter. She wants to go to the park to paint the waterfall because it would be a pretty painting. And so she takes her friend and she skips school, and they go out to the woods because they're going to go do this because she's mad at her mom for dating somebody. And so the mom gets a call from school, so now she's got to chase her daughter into the park. Meantime, the bear has attacked these two people, and then it does attack the kids. And the one kid ends up in a tree, and the other one gets the girl gets dragged into the cave. Fortunately, she does not get eaten. Why? I don't know. Because so the movie can happen, I guess.
Yeah. Duh.
Then you have the drug dealer played by Ray Liotta. And I don't know if it's awesome or sad that the last movie that Ray Liotta made was Cocaine Bear. I mean, it does say at the end of the credits, "In Memoriam," So
this film is dedicated
to Ray Liotta. Cocaine Bear. Okay.
Yeah. Like you say, it's kind of one of... But at the same time, I do think to myself, I watched Muppets Most Wanted the other day, and Ray Liotta was in that, and again, he was being really funny in it. And he's obviously known for quite serious characters, but then he also obviously had a very good sense of humour about things. So, like, fair play, Obviously, if you're going to do a movie like this.
So, Ray Liotta was supposed to take possession of all the cocaine, but obviously what's went wrong. If he doesn't get the cocaine, he's really effed by other drug dealers, I guess. And he's trying to get his son to the business. His son didn't want to be in the business, but he just lost his wife, Joan, to cancer. And so he sends his right-hand guy to go pick up the son because the son has dropped off his grandson, his son, and he wants him to pick him up because he's got to go get the cocaine. This is getting convoluted already. I know. And the son is all weepy because of he lost his wife. He wanted to get a tattoo of her, but the guy screwed up, and so it said Joan. It's a big heart that says John. He's all upset about that. And so the two of them, it's his friend and his father's right-hand man and his friend, this black guy. They go to try to find the cocaine, and they end up in the forest as well. Now the mother comes into the ranger station where the ranger is working with the guy she has a crush on, and she says, "My daughter's lost. Can you help?" And she's like, "Oh God damn it!" So she gets her gun. They go out, and they get attacked by the bear. And the ranger's kind of messed up, but she's able to get back to the cabin. I figure she would have been dead. And the nature guy that she has a crush on, he ends up in a tree next to it, and the other kid is in another tree, and the mother's just hiding. And while the guy was trying to get away from the bear, he ended up in a pile of cocaine, and then he ends up in the tree, so he's covered in the cocaine. So the bear goes to go get the kid, and he gets all the way almost up to get the kid, and he sniffs, and he looks over, and then he sees the guy over there in the other tree covered in cocaine. He's like, oh. He jumps from one tree to the other, tears that guy to ribbons. Then I forgot about the cop. This really gets convoluted, I'm telling you. So then there's a cop that,
for a story with such a simple premise.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that hard to follow. It's just hard for me to tell because I only saw it the once, and then I had a lot of liquor last night. So you're gonna have to bear with me. But I didn't even realize I did that.
I'm so in the zone with my comedy. Didn't even realize I did it.
No, I didn't even realize. You're gonna have to cocaine bear with me. So I did, by the way, I did see the advertisement for meth alligator. I was like, come on, those teeth wouldn't look that good. But so the cop, he's investigating, and he ends up in the forest as well. There's these three teenagers that attack the black guy, and he kicks their ass, and he finds one of the bricks of cocaine on him. He says, "Where'd you get this?" So he gets one of them to take him to the gazebo. The cop ended out in the gazebo just by happenstance, and he sees one of the bags up there. They all end up together. The son, the right-hand man, this teenager, and the cop is on top of the gazebo. They got guns on each other, and then the bear comes out because there's cocaine over there. But now this time the bear is coming down, so he's not really attacking him. He's not all ferocious, and the two guys are playing dead. And finally the bear just passes out on top of the one guy. He just smothered him. Like, come on, I can't get him off. Can you lift him up? No.
A bear. Yeah.
Fucking 500-pound bear laying on top of him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. Eventually Ray Liotta comes out. He shoots the cop. There's more of a chase. Meanwhile, the mother is able to follow because the girl was able to spray paint and so while she was getting dragged by the bear and leave a trail. And so the mother and the little kid, they go get the girl. Those guys end up somehow back at the same place because they find a bunch of the cocaine there. And then the bear saves the day, quite frankly. You know what? I can't even tell this story. It's too much. Which is really kind of surprising.
But it's one of those films that, like I say, that the premise of it, you kind of, again, coming back to like Ant-Man, you think to yourself, Ant-Man, it's the continuation of the Marvel story and blah, 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 and everything else. Whereas, like I say, somebody somewhere was sort of going, what about a picture of a bear that takes cocaine? Oh, I love it. Just somebody sort of somewhere. So, and then after 6 months when they're on the set filming it, going, got a bit out of hand, didn't it? Yeah.
It holds together. Here's the thing. I don't want to make this sound like it's like complete mess or whatever. It's not. It's just a lot to tell. But that's the thing. If you ask me, what was Ant-Man about? Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp and Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, they end up in the quantum universe.
what was the motivation for the bear? I mean, what was he? Was he?
Coke.
I was gonna say, no. I mean, was he really expressing the inner feelings of what wildlife is towards humankind, or?
No, he
it's
was
a
just
bear
strung
on
out on
drugs.
coke, man.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you, like I said, with Quantumanium, it's like, well, the four main people, they get sucked into the quantum realm. Kang's down there. They lead a revolt. They defeat him, and then they go back up to the real world, or to the Earth.
Yeah.
The end. I mean, in the end, that's really all it is. There's not a lot else happening. You can go into some detail on the journey, but it's not very convoluted. There's not that much going on. There's all these side stories and all these little arcs and all these people that have, real characters, and you kind of get to know them. You know the teenager,
and start to get invested in them.
Up. You got invested in him. The bear is kind of like this thing that's happening alongside of all this, and while he is obviously a big catalyst for creating a lot of mayhem, it's I guess this is really a stretch. Kind of liken it to Jaws, right? Why
okay.
was Jaws so awesome? It wasn't because of the shark. It was because of the relationship between Brody and
Quint and
Hooper and Quint.
Yeah.
And some of this and the first half of the movie, Brody trying to deal with the town and all that kind of stuff. The shark is just a problem that needs to be solved, and they lost all that because they made the shark the focal. By Jaws 4, the shark was going after the Brodies and then following them, even though they took a plane, following them all the way down to the fucking Bahamas. I mean, it just got so insane.
It's a good job. It's a good job that the shark broke into their house and saw their travel plans so he could follow them. But no, in this one, sorry, go on.
Who is it? Telegram. You're that shark, aren't you? No, I'm only a dolphin.
No. Trying to hide his teeth.
Yeah. Oh, only a dolphin. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's how Jaws got. It got that ridiculous. This is kind of like that, where the shark or the bear is a thing that is happening, but there are other problems or other stories that get you invested in the movie.
And the actual characters.
It's kind of like it's kind of like a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's funny. The kills are funny. That when the ranger finally does buy it, it is absolutely hilarious. The bear is. There's only maybe one or two times that the bear's CGI really kind of gets a little dodgy,
noticeable. Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's fine.
Can I just say ever so quickly, when you just said about Cocaine Bear on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment is at 71%, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 48%.
What's the audience rating?
On which one? Cocaine Bear?
Yeah.
71 and 75.
75%. I'd say that's probably spot on. I mean, this isn't Gone with the Wind. It's Cocaine Bear. Okay.
Yeah, no.
You're gonna get what you paid for. I promise.
Yeah, that's right. Again, it's kind of like with the whole shark.
More.
I was going to say, like with the whole Sharknado thing. Yeah, there's only one thing. There's two things you're going to see in that movie: sharks and a tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice that there's more to this movie. It's nice that it's goofy. You're not supposed to take it seriously. That's all fine. But I cared about the mom and the kids. I cared about what happened to these goofy side characters. I laughed when they died. I laughed at, it's all just, it's fun. I almost liken it to Dale. Was it Tucker and Dale?
Dale versus Evil.
Versus Evil.
Yeah.
Kind of a little like that. Like you cared about those characters and what was going on in that crazy mess. And it kind of like the same way. And it's not just like, well, this is, you don't have like those early 80s. It's like, I'm telling you, this is a bear like you've never seen. It's just,
yeah, that's right.
fucking bear. It's just a black bear. No big deal. It's just a high on coke, and it's a little bit more aggressive. And bears can kill you.
Yeah. Then they're known for their temper.
Yes. This one can kill you humorously. And that's the fun part. So I do recommend it. I absolutely recommend it as it's only like an hour 36. It's not long.
Good.
You're in and out, and you had a good time. You don't feel like you wasted your money. It moves along at a brisk enough pace, and you come out of it going, that was fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I say with a lot of films. Sometimes I remember walking out of Batman and just sort of thinking, ironically enough, I kept thinking that was a waste of money. I mean, I think it's because I bought a hot dog and drink as well, so I had to remortgage my house. But I did think to myself, that was a waste of money ultimately to do that. Whereas, like I say, I've seen films which have got zero budget and zero anything else, but I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of them because they've just been fun. And ultimately that's what you want. You want to be entertained for whatever it is.
Yeah. There's no woke nonsense because it all takes place in 1985, so you don't have any of that idiocy in there.
Well, you just said it was a black bear and a female.
She was sassy. That'll get me in trouble.
So, what would you give it stars wise?
Yeah, I give it like a 3 out of 4. I mean, I'm right there with them. 75.
3 out of 4.
75%, 80%.
No, we score our movies out of 5. We have done forever, and you say 3 out of 4.
3 point. Oh. Well, I don't know what 75% is out of 5. Okay, it's not 4 out of 5.
What would you give it as stars?
3.7.
I'd give it a C plus. Yeah, definitely.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Black bear. That's the problem with this film. Oh, hang on. No. Black bear is what I meant to put up. Black bear. Yeah, it's a racist bear. That's what it is.
That's right.
I score on 4.
Yeah, at the end.
Good English there, Heidi.
The bear high on cocaine went in and it just raided a target while the security guys just looked on, didn't do anything about it. It started taking all the makeup because it's a black bear, so it's female.
So many jokes. Nope. Oh, we're really missing Sean. He's really missing out on this. We didn't say actually. Eggy unfortunately had a funeral this week, so he's got some family over, and so he's dealing with that. And Sean apparently is on his girlfriend's birthday, which is typical. As soon as a bloke gets a girl, they go off and completely forget all their friends and everything else, don't they?
Well, once he gets married, then he'll come back.
I was going to say, when she finally goes missing, okay, we're the ones who have got to pick up all the pieces. Actually, that sounds really bad. Sean's convinced.
Dark.
Yeah.
Wasn't the direction I was going, but okay.
The last booty outpost. If only, Heidi, if only. Yeah. We'd actually probably get some hits and likes. Right.
Get some hits, huh?
Oh, again, if only. So that's been this week. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
I don't know. Heidi, you want to give me your phone number?
We figured that last week. She's married. She's not going to be interested in the likes of us.
These days, that seems to mean nothing.
Sean?
No, I don't have anything really. Oh,
BTK.
Yeah, he does look like BTK. Yeah, the BTK killer. It's a serial killer. I don't know that much about him. It's one of those.
Let's talk about Liverpool collapsing like dogs.
Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree with Phil here. He doesn't know anything about
football.
European
I'm assuming. Yeah, no idea. Oh no, I was talking to one of my colleagues at work today, and usually they play football out on a Sunday as a group, and they've asked me to go, and I kept saying no, I can't. I got a live stream, so I can't go and exercise. Thank goodness. And one of them said,
"Damn it!"
And one of them said today, I said, "Oh, so you guys playing tonight?" I said, "Have you guys got football tonight?" And he said, "Oh, playing or watching?" I said, I'm just making conversation. And he said, oh, well, there is a match on. We're all going to be watching that. And I was going, well, go sports. Yes.
No sports ball.
just to join in, you know.
I like my football, and beyond that, I mean, I don't even watch
hand
college
egg.
sports.
You like your hand egg.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah. That's right. That's why it gets
Let's get that right. Yeah, because it's not football; it's hand egg.
It's awesome. That's what it is.
Well, like I say, I know I say this every week, but let's wrap up early. Because
don't get me started, Heidi. Don't get me started with your bullshit here, all right? I had plenty of times to not like fumble the ball and get it run into the end zone, okay? You know, there was he pulled the shirt. You're going to have to deal with it. Yeah, I had to hear this shit for years after the Royals were in the 1985 World Series. Don Deckinger. Hey, you had a whole other game to fucking play. There's like 60 minutes in there. One call shouldn't have made a difference. Too bad. So sad. Okay, I'm done now, Phil. Thank you. Just wanted to get that off my chest.
No, I've never been into sport apart from foxy boxing and jelly wrestling. Those are okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to that mud wrestling place in Stripes.
I did hear a good one the other day, just to point out, and it was a comedian, and he said, "I think that all transgender men who want to transition into women should be able to play women's sports, as long as I can bet." the women's 100-meter freestyle. I think I'll put my money on that 6-foot tall beauty over there, the one with the size 11 feet. I've got a good feeling about her.
Did you ever see they did do that on South Park where the guy looked like Manny Macho Man Savage, but he was
I've seen the meme.
I'm the toughest girl in the world. Ugh.
That is an exception, Heidi. Yes, I did used to watch WWE, but I haven't seen it for many years now.
Last time I watched it, it was still called WWF. That's how old I am.
WWE is sport for people who hate sports. True or false?
WWE is male soap opera.
Yeah, exactly. And quite well done. I used to like it back in the days with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and like with The Undertaker when he was first around.
Yeah, I was back when Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and Jake
the
Snake and the Iron Sheik, all those guys. I hate to bring it up again. I hate to reference it again, but when South Park did do wrestling, and like the boys were doing wrestling, but they never wrestled. It was always like dressing up in costumes, and Cartman kept saying that he was getting an abortion as he was playing this character, was always getting an abortion and everything. And finally, Vince McMahon was going to come and see if they were going to be worthy to be brought into the, and he comes in, he's like, he's got opera glasses on and he's watching the story unfold. Nobody's actually fucking wrestling. It's just this weird, bizarre soap opera that these kids have created.
It's like I say, I do miss the days of wrestling because it used to be quite good. But the last time I watched it, it was completely over the top, and I didn't. You know, it's turned too much more into a soap opera now than it has about the actual wrestling itself.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but
yes, Heidi, so we did talk about that. You were a little late, but yes, we talked about that.
Yeah, if you were on time, Heidi, it wouldn't have been an issue. You'd have seen that.
I can't do the jokes again.
Yeah, watch it back. But speaking of which, remember to subscribe to the channel, all three of you, and you can watch these back later in the week. I've still got a video I've got to finish. I've been concentrating on something else video-wise, which hopefully Tuesday will be over. Is you had church. My sweet Aunt Fanny, you had church. My goodness me, I had church. I can't imagine she can get like to the door, and then this holy voice goes, "Get out."
I think the correct way of saying that is that she did church.
Yeah. I had a good one the other day of a priest came up to us and said, "I'm here to about exorcising your demons," and I said, "I haven't got any demons," and the voice said, "Yeah, that's the one." I need to get rid of him.
That was, God damn it. Now I can't remember what I was going to say. It's all gone.
age gets to us all. Right, I'll tell you what. Let's wrap up here. So, go mass twice a week.
Oh, I remember. Please watch.
go on.
Matt and I did a ridiculously longer than the actual episode review of Picard season 3, and we are hopelessly optimistic about it because it actually was really good, or at least it started out well. I'll be doing a review of episode 2 here soon this week, and looks like they're righting the ship. It's hard to believe.
I haven't seen you guys talking about it, but I saw the drunk critical drinker talk about it, and I kind of thought to myself, I kind of want to give it a show. I want to give it a go and see what it's like. So,
are you a Star Trek guy?
I do enjoy them. I wouldn't say I'm on the level of you guys, but I do. Yeah, I've enjoyed them. I do remember going to see, I think when episode or number 4 came out, The Voyage Home, they had at my local cinema, they show episodes keeps one of the Star Wars things, but they showed the motion picture Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4, and I went to see that with a mate and stuff. And so, yeah, I've always, liked the Star Trek films, but just not on the level that you guys do. Really nerdy.
So I take it you haven't really watched the shows that much or anything, though.
I tried with Picard, and I think I gave up somewhere near the first or second episode because I just couldn't.
No, I meant like the older, like the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. Or
oh no, again, I have seen them, but again, not like in any massive great detail.
Yeah. Okay. I just curious. I didn't know how deep you were into it, but yeah, I think the third season is kind of seems to be trying to, it is somewhat tiny bit hampered by what came before. That's just a hazard of it, but what it's doing so far seems to be really good. So we'll see.
Oh, fair enough. Okie doke. Okay, then. So would you like to wrap up then?
Yes. Heidi says she's in the process of watching all the original Twilight Zone. They're very good. Yeah, they're great. And
I watched them recently. Yeah,
amazing actors. Yes, yeah. There's a lot of
great stories. Yeah, really good stories in there.
But yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. We are thelastmovieoutpost.com. You can find us on Twitter at Movie Outpost. He's at Boba Phil. I'm at Truck and Yoda 1. At Matt Eggy Wags is also available on Twitter. We're at Facebook at /lastmovieoutpost and at Instagram at Movie Outpost. Thank you very much for watching, and you can find all the greatest in movie news, entertainment news, and everything good about film. We are the cool news now. We will be here next week. What is coming out next week, Phil? I don't even know.
Oh, Mandalorian. Mandalorian's on Wednesday.
Mandalorians, yeah. Any good movies or?
Don't care. Mandalorian.
You need to care, Phil.
I know. I don't know. I kind of make it up as I go along. Again, I've been trying to watch new stuff, and I've just not been finding much new stuff that's been of interest. So I've been watching older movies and stuff. I need to do more retro reviews.
I do have a news update. Disappointingly, it looks like for this weekend, Ant-Man and the Wasp was going to make $32 million, and Cocaine Bear made $23 million.
Oh, God!
But still, pretty damn within shouting distance. And considering that Ant-Man and the Wasp is one of the big giant MCU movies and
yeah.
almost got taken down by Cocaine Bear is pretty goddamn hilarious in my opinion.
It is still funny, yeah.
Yep. So next week we have March 3rd. We have Operation Fortune. I don't know what that is. Hunt Her, Kill Her. No. The Thorn. So I think maybe Scream 6 comes out on the 10th.
Could not care less.
To watch us. 65. I'm kind of tiny bit interested in 65. That's the one with Adam Driver with in a spaceship with the little girl.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Crash lands on Earth 65 million years ago.
It looks like Jurassic Park with lots of guns. It looks all right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll keep those up and we'll kind of go from there. So,
okay.
All right, then. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next stream.